Hello, everyone. Welcome to Grid Live Wrap Up. Joe Samaniego here, along with Kobe Lamberts from the podium finish. We got Adam Lemery, Ben Schneider, and Joshua Burst from Joshua Burst Motorsports YouTube channel. We encourage everyone to participate in the channel. We would love to hear your questions, thoughts, and opinions, especially that controversial lap 48 between Verstappen and Hamilton. And a special thank you to our Patreon subscribers, Colin, Mark, Michelle, and Robin, for keeping us on the air. We welcome everybody to share their thoughts as we discuss Formula One and the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. This is going to go down, I think, as one of the most epic races of 2021, possibly all time.
Yeah, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix saw an exciting opening 5 laps of the race when Max Verstappen took the lead around Valtteri Bottas. Then Perez, his teammate, also got around Bottas on lap 1, and Lewis Hamilton got up to third place on lap 5 after starting 10th on the grid. After a safety car and virtual safety car, it was definitely game on between the top two in the World Championship. However, the controversial moment that Joe just talked about took place when Hamilton and Verstappen went wide off the racing surface. No action taken, but Hamilton, with almost 10 laps remaining, took the lead and set sail. It was definitely one of those career-defining drives from Lewis Hamilton, from 20th to 5th in the sprint race yesterday, and then 10th to 1st today. Really a 25-place penalty, as a lot of people were saying on social media. Can you guys put into words the performance we saw from Lewis Hamilton this weekend?
I've tried and I can't. I really can't. It has just been absolutely incredible. I was reading through the script. I saw this first question. I've been trying to think of words to come up with to use here, and you can't. I mean, he is doing stuff that we've never seen before. 101 race wins now. That's a record that they said Michael's record would never be broken, and Lewis broke it. So I don't want to go that far and say this record will never be broken either. Who knows what the future holds in Formula One? But Lewis Hamilton just proved this weekend what I think most of us already knew, that he is simply amazing, simply incredible. And like I've said multiple times on this program and on social media, I'm still not a fan of F1 sprints. I think it's gimmicky. I think it's kind of taken a page out of NASCAR's book, a push for entertainment that's an unnecessary gimmick to add to a race weekend. But it did make Lewis Hamilton's comeback just that much more incredible, because he got disqualified from the qualification session, so he had to start at the back there in a sprint race, obviously much shorter than a Grand Prix. Made his way all the way up to 5th, then had to give 5 of those places back because of the engine component penalty, and comes from 10th place on the grid today to win the race. I mean, there simply are no words that can do it justice. Amber, I'm right there with you. Lewis is king. He has just been absolute masterclass all season long. And like I said, I hope that this championship goes down to the checker flag at Abu Dhabi, because we are witnessing something truly, truly special here that we're going to look back on as one of the classic seasons in Formula One. I was a little confused as to why so many people were starting to say, Max has the advantage now. It's kind of slipping out of Lewis's reach, because when that happens, Lewis comes out and he does something like this, and he's proven now that he can go out and be in control of his own destiny again. It's going to be tough for him to win each of the last 3 races, I think, but theoretically, if he does that, there's nothing Max can do, and he'll be world champion for the 8th time and break another one of Michael's records. It's simply incredible.
You think Lewis Hamilton was Superman this weekend? After everything. I mean, I don't think anybody saw this coming. In Formula One, nobody, not even in the media, fans, us here at Grid Network. I mean, that you think that penalty didn't phase Lewis Hamilton, and I mean that epic battle between Lewis and Max, when Lewis got the DRS, and it was. I mean, as many viewers know, I've been watching Formula One for a long, long time, and I gotta say, this go down as one of the greatest F1 races that I watched all year long. And I saw something online from NASCAR driver Bill Lester, and he said, "Is there no passing in F1?" Yeah, there is passing in F1. We saw all throughout the field. I believe the undercut helped Lewis Hamilton today. And I believe it should have been a Mercedes 1-2, but this is, as Larry McReynolds would say, reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time, because this championship ain't done yet, and I believe it's going to go down to the season finale in the Middle East at Abu Dhabi.
If he'd listened to Larry McReynolds, he wouldn't have got a £5,000 fine and 20 grand suspended until the end of 2022 for loosening those belts on the cool-down lap. I didn't notice that actually at the time when I was in the comms box, and I thought to myself, he's leaning forward an awful lot. Has he undone the belts? And you're not allowed to do that. It's a big no-no for safety reasons as well. It got brought up, I think, 2017 Malaysia. Felipe Massa said it as well in a press conference. And it all sort of went, are you allowed to undo your belts at the end of the race? And Charlie said, no, you're not allowed to do that. Well, could you explain why Lewis did it then? And Lewis did. Charlie said to Lewis, did you? And he said, yeah, sorry. Won't do it again. He's done it again. Josh Play says as well, hey, just found out some official reports. Yeah, Amber's there's a Super Lewis, all looking great there as well. You wanted me to put it into words, this incredible weekend? I've got 3 of them for you. Still I Rise. That's a poem that Lewis Hamilton has got a lot of love for. He puts it on his own back in a tattoo. He has it on his race suit as well. He's got it all over his dressing room wall as well. He means it. It was a fantastic drive. I agree with what Adam said as well. This could be one of the greatest races we've seen, certainly from one driver. I've never seen anyone come back from a 25 grid penalty before across the sprint race and the main race. That was certainly one. I agree as well with what Ben said as well. It's not a fix, this sprint race. We've had 2 sprint races before that we all found absolutely boring and all went away scratching our heads. I'll admit, I enjoyed the sprint race yesterday, but only because Hamilton was racing his way through the field as well. That was the only part of it that had real entertainment. People have been saying, does this mean that we could have reverse grids as the sprint racing? No. Because, yes, it was exciting seeing Hamilton coming through the field, but the reason it was exciting is because it happens very, very rarely. That's what gets it exciting. I said in commentary when Hamilton and Verstappen were battling over the lap 46, 47, I said, I got quite passionate about it as well. Megan just sort of had to tap on my shoulder and say, calm down. She's gone like this a lot as well when she's get away from the TV. I went into whole flow and saying that we are in an absolute golden age. We've had Prost, Senna, Mansell, Piquet, Hamilton, Rosberg. This is undeniably, I think, one of the most unique partnerships I've ever seen. We are seeing Alonso, Schumacher, but when we've actually still got the 2 drivers very competitive. Schumacher, admittedly, was waning off the last couple of years as well. Car changes hurt him in 2005, 2006 as well. He was not good in the head as well because he was being forced out by Ferrari to put Kimi Raikkonen in as well. He wanted to continue, but then didn't go on. His championship only really started to take off when he announced he was retiring. So I don't count 2006 as a good year for Michael at all. This is 2 drivers at the top of their game, the greatest of all time in terms of race wins, pole positions, fast laps, whatever, and the youngest Grand Prix winner of all time. This is something we've never seen before and will never, ever, ever see again. Not in our lifetime, certainly. We are being treated, honestly, and I am privileged to be watching these gladiators race because it is like nothing we've ever seen. I use the expression, I've got to stop, we've got a lump in my throat like Murray did. I've generally got a lump. I've actually got a drink alongside me in the show here today, and I'm coughing as well because I've blown my voice over the things today. I'll throw a question back actually quick to Ben and Adam as well, and Kobe, I don't know what you're doing, but I'll throw it back to you and Joe even as well. Quickly, 47. Hamilton round the outside, Verstappen opening the steering wheel, running him off the track. My question is not whether it was right or wrong, no penalty. My question is, what was your reactions? Because with mine, I nearly started jumping again in the commentary box like they did it again. What was your reactions? It was like, oh God, are they going to crash? What's going to happen?
I guess we're going to me first. I was thinking to myself, the first 2 times we've done the sprint were Silverstone in Great Britain and Monza in Italy. And what happened those 2 times? Those are the 2 times that Hamilton and Verstappen have come together this year that's resulted in one of them retiring. I thought we were set for deja vu there. Certainly a moment that made you jump out of your seat there. And I don't know. I mean, I guess the next question, maybe we can kind of do a hybrid here, jump into that a little bit. I'll tell you, I think we are seeing, like we've all been saying, something truly spectacular with this championship battle. And drama's certainly not over yet, if today is any indication how close not just the drivers' championship battle is, but the constructors as well. I think for all the talk that Max and Lewis are getting as rivals, Toto Wolff and Christian Horner might be the most underrated rivalry in all of sports right now. It's been very entertaining watching the banter between the 2 of them. So, yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you. We are seeing something truly special that we all need to appreciate, no matter which side you're on, or if you're a neutral fan, just enjoying it, sitting back. It's a good time, I guess, to be a McLaren and a Ferrari fan, because your teams maybe aren't quite up there yet, but you can sit back as somebody who doesn't really have a dog in the fight and just appreciate the close battle that we're seeing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Adam.
I got to say that there's the best rivalry in motorsports right now is in Formula One between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. You think of when I saw what happened between Max and Lewis at lap 46, both of them going off track, I was like, here we go again. We saw what happened in Silverstone. We saw what happened in Monza. You think it was going to happen again here in Brazil, but no, it didn't. And I was kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised and kind of glad that there was no investigation that was going to be necessary after what happened. This championship has had so many twists and turns this year. I think it's the best overall championship in motorsports in all of 2021. I know we had NASCAR and IndyCar battles all year long in those championships, but F1 has given us a classic rivalry. Think back to 1990, Ayrton Senna versus Alain Prost. And you saw Lewis Hamilton with a Brazilian flag around it, around his neck when he was on the podium. I think one of Lewis's heroes when he was growing up was late great Ayrton Senna. So, kind of reminds me of 1990 right now, between Prost and Senna. Overall, this championship ain't done yet. And, if you're not a Formula One fan by now, there's something wrong with you, because you're going to need to get your favorite food, favorite drinks, and settle in and even get some popcorn for the last 3 races of the season, because it's going to be a barn burner no matter where you look.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a barn burner. When I saw Lewis and Max battling, I thought for sure there was going to be contact with both of them crashing out of the race once again. But luckily, that didn't happen. But 3 races ago, they very well might crash out of the race once again. So I definitely don't think that the drama between Max and Lewis is over. And I know we've been talking amongst ourselves, but all of our viewers have been talking in the chat room. Right there, we got a comment from Amber asking if there's more sprint races here. Luckily, there are not any more sprint races here, just straight up racing. And Josh Play says that you should have stayed with your pick winner. You changed it to Max Verstappen. And actually, Josh, I had a really good weekend on pick a winner. Out of the 6 races we had, I correctly guessed 4 out of 6. And I've actually taken the lead in the pick a winner standings. Really excited about that, because most weeks I really don't even get one pick on most weekends. So I'm really glad that I was able to again enjoy the championship. I actually thought that it was completely over and Joe was going to run away. And luckily, Joe, you don't have Kyle Larson to lean on anymore as your crutch. So Adam and I, we're coming for you. And
You've done a Hamilton, Kobe. You've done a Hamilton.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
you did a Hamilton, Kobe. Yeah, easily you did a Hamilton. Where to go?
You really pulled a Hamilton
down the order because I picked Bottas again. I don't know why I did that, but
Who did I pick? I can't remember.
You picked Max Verstappen, Josh.
I did pick
Joe. Yeah, I remember from yesterday.
I was right up until or was it the first pit stops? So I'll take
Thank
that.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ben, if I'm going to Vegas, I'm definitely not going to ask you for betting advice. That's for sure. And Humperdink's comment said, "You think Hamilton's probably the only person who can gain 25 positions in a 25 car race?" Well said, Humperdinck. Well said. It just shows that Lewis Hamilton is Superman, and he's totally out of this world. Sometimes I even wonder if he's human or not. And speaking of Hamilton, now it's 14 points behind Verstappen heading to Qatar. We only have 3 races left, assuming Saudi Arabia is ready in time. But if not, I'm assuming they have a backup plan there. 8 points, the difference between first and second place, and one fastest lap. Bonus point is possible. Max cannot point his way to the championship. Lewis has to win each and finish ahead of Max. Qatar is definitely going to be a real critical race for both drivers and the teams in the Constructors Championship. Are Max and Lewis even, the Red Bull and Mercedes, heading into the final leg of the season? And should we expect more drama between the rivals before it's all said and done?
Yeah, well, I touched on this a little bit. But like I said, both drivers are still in control of their own destiny with how close the championship battle is if you look at it from a mathematical point of view. I think the games that Red Bull's been playing with the fastest lap, I think that's the second or third time this year. I think even they got AlphaTauri to do it in one race where they've stolen the fastest lap from Lewis Hamilton right at the end of the race. Sergio Perez taking that point away from Lewis, that not only helps Max in the Drivers' Championship, obviously it's one fewer point for Lewis, but of course, like I said, the Constructors is equally as close right now of a battle. So you look at both championships, absolutely there's going to be more drama. And really all three tracks are kind of a little bit of an unknown. Obviously, get 2 brand new tracks in Qatar and Saudi Arabia coming up, assuming that track gets finished. I know there's still certainly some questions about that. But even Abu Dhabi as well, it's been slightly reconfigured, I think, in some of the corners to hopefully aid with some overtaking. And I know the races there haven't been super great, except the years that we've had championship battles. I'm thinking back to 2016, how tense that was when it was a battle between the Mercedes men of Hamilton and Rosberg. So maybe we'll get a thrilling battle this year because hopefully, like I said, how close this has been, championship's going to go down to the last race. And I see Amber's got a comment here for me as well. Do you like the fastest lap bonus? I would have to say I do in principle. I do like if you're going to have so-called gimmicks or whatever, I do like bonus points for things like that. I certainly prefer it to major gimmicks like sprint races or playoffs or things like that. But I have to say, I think it would work a little bit better if Ferrari and McLaren were a little bit closer to Mercedes and Red Bull on average, and that's certainly no fault of Formula One or the FIA. But when Mercedes and Red Bull are able to build that much of a gap, it does give Sergio a free pit stop, and that's what Red Bull's been able to do a few times this year. I think Paul DeResta was saying on the post-race coverage that, ideally you'd like to see the fastest lap point go to the fastest driver in the race. And that hasn't always been the case this year with what Red Bull have been able to pull off. So I think we've got a lot more show to cover, but hopefully that answers the question there.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's kept in with the top 10 there for the fastest lap bonus point. Only the people in the top 10 can score, because if that sort of defeats the object, it was introduced after that Formula E race where De Grassi and Buemi went out in their spare cars or the second cars and just set the fastest lap instead of actually racing. And that clinched the World Championship that year. I can see why they do it. I don't like it. I'd much rather the fastest driver on the track gets a point, because, for instance, Nikita Mazepin would have got half a point for the fastest lap at the Belgian Grand Prix and would be 20th in the standings. Oh, no, 19th in the standings. Instead, he's 21st out of a field of 20. So maybe that explains why Lewis Hamilton got 25 pace grid penalty, but out of a field of 20. Nikita Mazepin is 21st in the driver's standings out of a field of 20. Take that while you will. Going on to it as well. I'll go back to Amber because I'm just thinking it's popped in my head. If you have points as well for qualifying, I always think that maybe you should get 1 point for getting the pole position as well, because they've done it in the sprint race now. You get 3 points for winning the sprint race, and that's pole position. So why not 1 point for the normal sessions, just to make it a bit more fairer? Because otherwise, there's nothing of value on the Friday, just a Pirelli tyre. If you're going to have these sprint weekends, give a 1 point for the fastest lap on the Friday session, so that it gives the team something to go for to be the fastest. It just make it make more sense. Back to your question though, Kobe, as well. In the final leg of the season, are we going to see these two clash? Oh God, yes. I'm really hoping, I don't even think we need to question it, because we've had America, what happened? They were battling throughout. The same in Mexico, the same here now in Brazil. This American leg of the championship has just been non-stop. It got neutered with Hamilton's penalty in Turkey as well, but it's just been non-stop. Every race, there's some little change around, whether it's from Hamilton and Verstappen's point of view, or Bottas and Perez, or Christian Horner and Toto Wolff. There is something else going on, and it is just gripping everything. This is no longer a World Drivers' Championship. This, once again, and I think for the first time in a long, long time, this is for the first time a World Championship, where not just the drivers matters, but the Constructors' Championship as well, the inter-team rivalries as well, getting one-upmanships on it. It feels like classic Formula One. It feels like, as you say, Adam, it feels like it's the 90s again. We've got these two teams warring. I love it. And I really hope it continues on as well into the 2022 new era. Finally, are they going to clash again this year? Well, we're out of sprint races now, and that's where they've always done it. But Qatar, a circuit that on paper should favour the Mercedes, probably will favour the Red Bull with the long start-finish straight. And also the middle sector 2 would favour the Red Bull. Sectors 1 and 3 favour the Mercedes because it's more open. Sector 2 is quite tight, and that favours the Red Bull. Going into Saudi Arabia, if that track's not ready, my understanding is that the backup is actually Jerez in Spain, the Circuit de Jerez as well. We were last race there in 1997. But from my understanding, for that plan to work, what's going to happen is Qatar would move to the Saudi Arabia date, and then there'll be a second unit sent from Abu Dhabi a week later to go to Jerez. But that is a very much a last gasp straw plan. If not, then we're just going to race twice in Abu Dhabi. But Jerez seem to want to be on the calendar. They are the emergency backup race for next year, top of the list. And if that does happen, just want to point out, the last time a season ended Jerez was 1997. I think we all know what happened there. You hit the wrong part of him, my friend.
Yeah. No, I don't think anyone has an advantage going for the rest of the season. It's going to be game on through the rest of the season. And what a golden era of Formula One right now. All I can say is game on. Let's go, boys, and saddle up and head to Qatar, because it's gonna be cool to see racing at that track. Who knows what to expect?
And before we finish up, Formula One got some more comments from the chat room. We're really excited to see a lot of viewers interacting with us here live on the air. Josh Play says he thinks that they'll clash in Qatar and Saudi Arabia, as they haven't been there before, and the Saudi Arabia street circuit is so tight. Yeah, definitely be something if we see them clash there in Saudi Arabia, assuming that it's going to be ready. But if I had to bet money, I think it'll be ready for the Grand Prix in 2022 instead. And you also said twice in Abu Dhabi would be epic. And Amber says, "Where's the Jerez track?" I'm not really sure what track you're referring.
Jerez in Spain.
Jerez, yeah, Jerez.
Oh yeah, got you, Jerez. And now, another comment from Humperdinck says, "Do you think the FIA will continue to be the NASCAR phrase? Have at it, boys, with the top two?" Well, based on what we've seen so far, I guess so. Moving forward, it's definitely been a have at it, boys type of atmosphere in Formula One between Hamilton and Verstappen, and it's going to be interesting to see what the championship is going to come down to. Is going to come down to a collision with the penalty, anything like that. And with the way this Formula One season is turning out, anything is possible.
Yeah, with that ruling as well of boys will be boys, and that's just fair racing, that cannot last, honestly, because the drivers are going to get it into their heads that that's it, we can run people off the road. What Verstappen did today, he's actually just said, in a press conference, and I've got it here, he took the safer option by running Hamilton wide, so he did it deliberately. It wasn't an understeer or oversteer moment, he did it deliberately. So now that he's admitted to it, he could get a penalty for it, because he did it deliberately. That's not fair. Robbing is racing, yes. Deliberately forcing a driver off the track is not. And I seem to remember another driver admitting to something he did deliberately and getting a penalty post-race. Who was that young fellow? Max somebody. I don't know, some Dutch lad.
Yes, and Josh, we actually saw that happen in NASCAR one time with Bubba Wallace at Texas Motor Speedway. Bubba really needed a caution, so he intentionally spun out on purpose. And after the race, he admitted that he spun on purpose, and then NASCAR fined him after that for admitting that he deliberately spun to get a caution. So you really brought up a really great point there. Next time Max does something like that, maybe the FIA will lay down the hammer to show him that you cannot be racing that way. And Mercedes, Red Bull, they're definitely going to be given a really tough fight to the end. And this season's been really intense from the first race all the way up to now. We saw Ferrari take a big advantage over McLaren when Ricciardo had to retire from the race with the power unit issue, and Lando Norris' race was ruined on the very first lap with a puncture after the collision. We've been talking about almost saw the top two collide again. It was close, but both were able to finish the race and racing again once again. Next weekend, the third weekend in a row, is the triple header format good for Formula One?
I would say the triple header is not good for Formula One. Amber says, first of all, before I answer that, Amber says, will a team get in trouble if a teammate spun to help teammates with a virtual safety car and pit stop? Yes, and I'll go on for president saying this because it took a year for it to come out, but Crashgate in 2008, Flavio Briatore and Pat Simmons told Nelson Piquet to crash deliberately at a certain part of the Singapore Grand Prix track in order to trigger a safety car. He did it, and Alonso benefited by pitting just before the safety car came out. Then he took the lead of the race and went on to win. A year later, it was found out that after Piquet got fired, that it was planned and it was malicious, and Renault got fined a hell of a lot of money, and they got banned for 2 years, but got that suspended. They ended up leaving anyway after 2 years, so no point really. But yes, a team now, heavy punishments have been put in, more so since 2010 when the new Concord Agreement was signed. If any team is found to deliberately cause a virtual safety car or a safety car in efforts to help their other driver in the race, it will be deemed as race fixing and cheating. They will be disqualified from the Constructors' Championship, and they will score no further points in the Drivers' Championship from the season. So effectively, they're out. It's just a long way of winded saying it. Is triple headers good for Formula One? No, it's not good for the team, because now they've got the biggest journey they've ever done in 5 days to get all the cars and engines over from Brazil right over to Qatar. And we saw the problems we had just getting from Mexico to Brazil, where the cars had to be set up on the Friday. It's a nightmare. I do not like triple headers at all. It's for us broadcasters as well, and even here we haven't travelled for these races, but you all know when you do travel to a race, you're incredibly tired as soon as the weekend's done. Joe, you were the last one to do it with Portland as well, and you know how tiring it can get. Imagine it now for these guys and girls in the F1 paddock who've got to go for 3 weeks running. It's a nightmare. I don't also like the fact that we could be having the first ever quadruple header. What's the plural of four? I don't know, but we've got four. We could have 4 races in a row, because if Jeddah is cancelled, we could run the week after in Doha for another race in Qatar. So that could happen. It's a crazy situation. No, I don't like triple headers. I didn't like them in 2018, didn't like them in 2020, and I didn't like them now in 2021. I'm glad we're in the last one, but I'm not looking forward to 2022, where we've got a lot more. And considering I'll probably be traveling to a couple of them as well, all being well, I'll probably look like I'm 40 or 50 by the time next year ends. It's going to be very, very tiring. Oh, and also on that front, it's not just Formula One where it's growing, it's also growing in MotoGP, and it's also resulted in several team members leaving, including their World Feed commentator, Steve Day. And to him, I want to say it's been a fantastic 6 years, and good luck to you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't like it either. It's called, it can get tiring very, very easily for everyone. I feel sorry for everyone in Formula One. And Amber said, I like racing every week like NASCAR. Yeah, that is nice, Amber. But we all need to take a break every once in a while, to recharge the batteries, get our energy back. I mean, I don't see how, if you take a look at NASCAR's schedule next year, I don't see how some of these teams and drivers are going to survive because they're going to be going week after week after week, and it's tiring on them. Their the families are in effect because the drivers don't get to see their families. Going for 3 weeks straight, it's really tiring on everybody. So I'm glad, hopefully, the triple headers are done for the rest of the year, and I don't want to see them again in the future. I think back-to-back weekends are enough for me.
Well, to bounce off of that, the NASCAR schedule is too long too. I think 36 is a little excessive. Even though you've got mostly national travel, I know that they've done some road course races in Canada and Mexico in the past, and the Xfinity Truck Series. But on that note, and Humperdinck makes the point there again. This goes back to what we saw in Belgium, and people were saying, well, why don't we just race Monday? Just the logistics of traveling from country to country and putting on a Grand Prix weekend are exponentially greater than racing NASCAR in the same country week to week. And I've got to say, selfishly from a fan's perspective, you may see it as great for us. We get nonstop action, particularly in a season like this, where it's been nonstop week in and week out. But this triple header in particular has especially been bad. It's bad enough when the 3 races are just in European countries or whatever. Obviously, last year was an anomaly with COVID, and you kind of had to have a bunch of those to make up for it and get the season in. This season, we go from Mexico in North America to Brazil in South America, now over to the Middle East to finish the season, and 3 of those races are back to back to back in a triple header. So it's bad enough when you have a triple header on the teams and the drivers and the personnel and everybody involved in Formula One. Now you have a triple header on 3 different continents, and it's just asinine to me that the scheduling got approved this way. And I feel sorry for the teams, and I'm sure they're going to be looking forward to getting through the next race weekend and finally having a weekend off. Because although we may sit back here on our couch and enjoy it as fans and not have to deal with the break in the action there, just thinking about it from a team's perspective, this isn't sustainable, and it makes me worrisome for next season when they want to have a 23 race calendar. When you get up to that many races, you can even race into December, but some of the triple headers are going to be inevitable. I think you get to 20 races, that's kind of, you're really starting to push it there. That probably should be the max for Formula One.
Yeah, and also next year's calendar, 20th of March until the 20th of November, 23 races crammed into exactly 8 months. It's going to be one of the congested seasons we've ever seen as well. Numerous triple headers. Amber says as well, why is Canada, America, and Mexico not a triple header? I don't know. Why isn't Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi the triple header at the end of the year? It makes no sense as well. In the age where everybody on this planet is trying to reduce their carbon footprint, trying to save the planet, Formula One have done all this weekend about we've been hybrid since 2014. We're going to have reusable fuels by 2025 and then new regulations. We're going to be net zero in carbon from 2030. But we're going to fly off from Mexico, back over to the UK, back over to America, back down there to Brazil. Oh, let's go over there. Oh, let's go to Australia. Let's go straight from Australia, back over to the UK to go back over to New Zealand. It makes zero sense. We're darting around the planet faster than the Pink Panther. I would have a very much a streamlined calendar where the European section of the calendar works and we all look forward to it. Let's start off in the Australia, Middle East. Then the Australasia is then into Middle East. Then let's drift over to the America side as well. Drift back over to Europe and catch the sun. And then we'll drift once again back over towards Asia. Let's include South Africa. And let's race where it's warm, but race where we need to. Let's push Canada to the end of the year in October's, bring all the Australia races forward, get China in at the same time. It works, but it doesn't work. For the longest time, I do not know why we go from Canada to Azerbaijan and then to Monaco and then up to Austria. It makes zero sense. Streamline it. Most of the teams are based in the UK. So go from UK to France to Germany and down to the rest of the European countries, Italy, back up, go to Turkey again. and then just spread out, go up towards Russia, and then pop down to Bahrain, and then if you have to, fly over to South Africa and do a race there. Streamline it, get it good. And I'm afraid I've completely forgot your original question.
Pretty much, we're a lot of questions. We want to thank all our viewers for all the questions, and we encourage them to keep asking your questions, sharing your opinions. We love hearing from you. And be sure to subscribe to Grid Network so you don't miss it when we come back for Qatar. And then we got possibly Saudi Arabia, maybe Jerez, and then, of course, Abu Dhabi, the season finale. A lot of racing all over, and definitely one series that has ended their season today was MotoGP, an eventful race. Ducati swept the podium first time ever. It was Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, and Jack Miller that got the job done. Rins was in contention, but he crashed out. The inconsistency for him this year, and that Suzuki was not there. The highest finishing non-Ducati rider was his teammate Juan Mir. Because all attention down in 10th place, Valentino Rossi, ending his career 10th place. Pecco Bagnaia was part of his ridership academy. He took the win behind Rossi. Franco Morbidelli, one of the first graduate of that ridership academy, right behind him. And after he crossed the finish line, turned to all the riders, waiting for him, embracing him, hugging him, just best wishes. Fans were there. Something we see every once in a while, but not often, because this is something reserved for legends, icons of the sport, and of course, Rossi is definitely an icon. Joshua, I have to ask you, you were calling this race in the watch along. During this moment where you're seeing all the riders, the fans embracing and wishing the best for Valentino Rossi, what were some of the emotions and memories processing as you were calling this moment?
A couple of things came into my mind as well. All the great races we've seen Valentino Rossi do. That last lap, actually, when he came across the line, I was thinking of that fantastic move on Casey Stoney at the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, Marc Marquez in all those races in 2015 as well, the side-by-side battles they had at the Sachsenring as well, even in Aragon, the battles they had in Sepang, lap after lap, Rossi going back through, Marquez cutting him off, and then Rossi kicking him out as well out of frustration. The time he broke his leg in 2010 as well and lost out on the World Championship that year to Jorge Lorenzo. All these things came through in my head as well, but the one that actually came through in my mind most was something that's not even connected to him directly. It's about him, but it's not. It's on a personal level. A couple of years ago, my nana brought me as a Christmas present, one of the first Christmas presents she brought that year for me. It was a DVD from Asda. It cost £5. It was the Risen, or was it a racer, whatever. It was Valentino Rossi, the documentary that he made about that 2010 season and his time at Ducati. That came back into my head for some reason as well. And it's those personal connections as well. And Nana sadly passed away 2 years ago. Anniversary that's coming up on Tuesday, and it was nice actually because because the anniversary is coming up. It made me think of it, and standing in the commentary box as well. It was nice that me and Nana just shared even a tiny link with Valentino Rossi in that as well, and put a smile on both our faces. And things like that, the personal things you remember. Sitting up at 2:00 in the morning doing a commentary in Australia and seeing Valentino Rossi take a surprise win, things like that. It's nice, and I don't think any one of us can deny the fact that Lewis Hamilton is great in ideally the icon of Formula One. I don't think anybody of us can deny that the greatest sporting personality this planet has ever seen is Valentino Rossi. Can you name me any sport that has just had one rider who has captured the entire viewership that is yellow all the way around the tracks in every race we go to? 26-year Premier class career. Fantastic. I ended the broadcast as well with thank you for the music. Grazie Vale. What a guy.
What a guy. What a career. I know we still got some people coming in with comments. Amber saying sad never really saw Rossi racing for a win. I know, especially for the new race fans. It's been a while since he won his last championship, but he was still always there. That 1 year, he was pretty close, battling his teammate. Didn't get the job done, but still put up a big fight. And then, of course, Joshua replaced should be doubleheader, break, and so on. I think referring to Formula One. Now, one of the big things, of course, with Rossi's career, like you said, Josh, he got everybody, the yellow flags all around. He was the face of the sport. And we saw a send off that very few racers get, legends, icons. United States, we see that a bit more often, particularly NASCAR, Richard Petty's farewell tour, Jeff Gordon. Jimmy Johnson was going to have one, but the pandemic put a sour end to that. Mario Andretti had a big one in IndyCar in 1994. We don't see this often in MotoGP and especially Formula One. Schumacher's last year, it was just announced after he won Monza and he was done. And then later on with Mercedes when he came back and then left again. Adam, since you've been following especially American motorsports for such a long time and Rossi's career, Rossi may not be a household name here in the United States, but for our American viewers, where does his name rank among greats in other motorsports like Richard Petty, Mario Andretti, and F1's Michael Schumacher?
Well, I think, you think about MotoGP's history, and one name comes to mind, Rossi. After everything he's accomplished in the sport, he's ridden, you could say he's the greatest MotoGP rider in history. It'll be sad without the good doctor on the grid next year. You could probably say he among the greats in motorsports history, like Richard Petty, Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt, Michael Schumacher. I gotta say, Valentino Rossi has raced alongside some of the greats in motorcycle Grand Prix road racing history. Loris Capirossi, Max Biaggi, Kenny Roberts Jr., Jeremy McWilliams, Casey Stoner, the Kentucky Kid, Nicky Hayden, many others. All I gotta say is Valentino Rossi has had one heck of a career, and he may not be riding, never again, but I gotta think he'll still be watching all the action on TV or wherever he is, to see the ongoing battle between Fabio Quartararo, Johan Mir, Jack Miller, Pecco Bagnaia, among others. So, grazie Vale, you've had a storied career. Enjoy retirement.
Definitely wishing him to enjoy everything ahead. He's going to continue that ridership academy. His influence is going to continue on in MotoGP. And one of the things that was really surprising during the ceremonies at Turn 2, MotoGP played a video montage of celebrities like Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, athletes, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, many people from around the world giving thanks to Valentino Rossi. And I know yesterday I had mentioned one of my favorite memories of Valentino Rossi of all time was when he congratulated the Kentucky Kid on winning his championship back in 2006. Of course, we know Kentucky Kid is no longer here. Nicky Hayden sadly passed away. But Valentino Rossi, true sportsmanship after giving a valiant fight. Starting with you, Ben. Final thoughts on Valentino Rossi's career in MotoGP?
Yeah, well, like we've mentioned here, MotoGP hasn't hit it as big in America, and I've said several times in this program myself, it's not up there with the series that I follow the most closely. But I think everybody who is a motorsport fan to the extent that we are, who's aware of what goes on worldwide, knows who Valentino Rossi is, and not only knows who he is, but knows the impact that he's had on the sport, and absolutely the greatest rider MotoGP has ever seen, and somebody who is a true sporting legend, not just in motor racing, but just worldwide. His name is up there, and I think back to I think when Alexander Rossi was just starting his career here in America in the IndyCar series, doing like a Q&A. I guess somebody asked him, does anybody ask you if you're related to Valentino? And Alex said, not as often as you might think, because MotoGP just isn't at that level in America just yet. Although I do believe it is growing as Formula One is. Valentino Rossi has had a massive impact on MotoGP, and it's a shame that some of the newer fans haven't gotten to see him as he was in his prime. I think at 2017, I think was the last time he won a MotoGP race. So it's been a few years. It's a shame he couldn't have gone out, winning like he was back in the day. But certainly a household name and somebody who I'm certainly going to miss seeing on the MotoGP grid next season.
Yeah, I completely 110% agree with you, Ben. I've been watching motorsports for a long, long time, and to me, Valentino Rossi will go down as one of the greats in all motorsports after everything he's accomplished in MotoGP. Think back, like I just said, he's raced among some of the greats in motorcycle road racing Grand Prix history. Loris Capirossi, Max Biaggi, the Kentucky Kid, Nicky Hayden, Casey Stoner. It's really sad. We won't see Valentino Rossi on the grid anymore. He's had a storied career on a motorcycle. His first one was actually in the rain at Donington Park in the 500cc division, what we now know as MotoGP in 2000. You can put him up there on the list of legends in all of motorsports history. Grazie Vale, Valentino Rossi.
This is my stat sheet that I get for MotoGP. Just down here, page 2, third from the bottom, 46, Valentino Rossi. 42 years old, and MotoGP, 135 Grand Prix starts, a total of hang on, let's get that right because I'm looking at the wrong person now. I'm getting emotional. Valentino Rossi, 371 MotoGP starts, 89 wins, 55 pole positions, 76 fastest laps, 199 podiums, World Championships, 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 08, 09. First race, as you said, San Marino 2000. First Grand Prix win, Donington Park in 2000. Last win, Netherlands in 2017. Well, in his total career, and this is outstanding. This is just outstanding. You ready? 431 races on motorcycles, 115 wins, 65 poles, 96 fastest laps, 235 career podiums, 2 championships in the lower divisions, 250cc in 99, 125cc in 97 as well. I always look at Rossi's achievements when I get this list, and it'll never be the same again. Honestly, the last Inhuman, the last alien of MotoGP has gone. They're all retired. And sadly, one of them passed on.
And kind of like you, Amber, I'll admit I was late to the MotoGP scene. I mean, throughout the years, I knew what MotoGP was, but honestly, I didn't really follow it until I came here to Grid Network. That's when I really started paying attention to all the storylines and all of the riders in the sport. But even before I started paying attention to MotoGP, Valentino Rossi was a name that I knew. I knew he was one of the best in MotoGP, one of the best to ever do it. It's definitely a career that we'll be talking about forever because he's left such a significant impact on the sport, and he'll be missed. But luckily, he'll still be around, and his impact will be felt for many generations to come. And definitely unfortunate he couldn't get a winning and go out with one final victory. But Valentino Rossi has nothing left to prove. He left it all out on the track his entire career from beginning to end, and just one of the legends of the sport. We're really gonna miss him, and really glad I was able to catch the tail end of his career and see him racing MotoGP. But I'm sure whatever's next for Valentino Rossi is definitely going to be great, and he'll be able to enjoy this new chapter in life. And we do have a comment in the chat room from Amber asking, can Valentino Rossi do SRX in America? I mean, if Tony Stewart, Ray Evernham want to invite him to come over next summer or the summer after that, let's see what happens. I'd really like to see Valentino Rossi and SRX. That would be a massive grab for the Camping World SRX series if they were able to get Valentino Rossi in one of those cars. And that's actually one of the disciplines that we haven't seen yet in SRX from MotoGP, but it would definitely be wild if Valentino comes and races alongside Tony Stewart and all of the legends of motorsports in the SRX series. So Amber, I think that would be a terrific idea, and if they haven't thought of it yet, maybe we need to pass that along to Reverend Ham and Tony Stewart on social media, because Valentino Rossi you can't get any more legendary than that. And next, moving on to yesterday's Petit Le Mans and entering the weekend for Motul Petit Le Mans, the 24th running of that great endurance race, we wondered if Cadillac could win 4 in a row, or the possibility of Wayne Taylor Racing becoming the all-time winningest team in the 10-hour endurance classic. Neither happened this year, but the talk of the race was definitely the championship battle between Action Express Racing Wheeling Engineering Cadillac DPI and Wayne Taylor Racing Konica Minolta Acura DPI. And from a season that started in January and ended in November, the battle for the championship was decided on the final lap in the final turn of the 10-hour race. And yesterday, on our special Grid Live pre-race edition for IMSA, we talked about the chilly weather condition, which actually ended up playing a major factor, with the drivers having a difficult time getting the cold tires up to temperature. I think it was in the high 30s, low 40s at the end of the race yesterday. And we saw both Ricky Taylor and Felipe Nasr go off course, exiting the pits on cold tires, and it was almost like racing on ice. And at the end, Taylor put together one of the strongest drives of his career up to date, and he was in the draft of Nasr going down the Road Atlanta backstretch on the final lap, entering that heavy braking zone at the end of the straight. Taylor went full send. Nasr made the defensive move to the left. Taylor ended up missing the corner. He came out ahead of Nasr going downhill to the checkered flag, but the number 31 Wheeling Engineering Cadillac DPI got back around the number 10 Konica Minolta Acura. Coming to the line as Felipe Nasr took Action Express and Pippo Durrani to the DPI title. And starting with you, Adam, was this a championship battle for the ages, and was there anything more Ricky Taylor could have done?
No. To me, this will go down as one of the greatest championship battles in IMSA history. Gotta say, last night it was outstanding. It was competitive all around, and one of the things that Kobe and I did mention on the pre-race show yesterday was traffic, and we saw traffic play a part all day long and into the darkness. Yeah, to me, this will go down as one of the greatest IMSA championships in history. Action Express and the Wayne Taylor Racing DPI going neck and neck entering the final turn. I didn't know what to expect, but gotta say congratulations to Pippo Durrani and Felipe Nasr on their championship. And next year they're going to have a target on their back, seeing if that team can go back to back.
Yeah, what a move by Ricky Taylor. I tell you, I didn't really know what to expect. When I saw him that far back, I didn't think he was going to be able to make the move. And, a little bit of a late defense there as well. I think Ricky was probably going to miss the corner anyway. So that was kind of interesting as well. But, hats off to IMSA, for a championship, really, the entire season, but also after, racing for 10 hours and still comes down to the final lap. Just absolutely incredible. And, maybe some other motorsports should take note, because we're seeing it in Formula One right now. We saw it last night with IMSA. Championship battle can in fact come down to the wire and produce organic drama like we saw last night. And, it's crazy to me, what we saw in IMSA this season. And Adam, like you said, just a fantastic championship battle. It's certainly one of those moments, like we were talking about today with Max and Lewis, one of those moments where you jump out of your seat. And that was on the final lap to decide position in the race that would have determined the championship. So hats off to IMSA. It's another series that I think is growing in America, but maybe not growing at the rate I'd like to see it, because there's a lot of great action week in and week out, and certainly something that American motorsports fans should be keeping their eye on into the future.
Yeah, I definitely think that IMSA has some of the best racing in the entire world, and people are really sleeping on that series. Lots of great battles. And as for Ricky Taylor, I think he should take a bow for that move because he did it. He did what every driver would have done in that situation to go full send. He probably not gonna make the corner, but hey, I'm leaving it all out on the track, and that's exactly what Ricky Taylor did. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough to get the championship, but you can tell he gave it absolutely everything that he had, and you can't really ask for any more. It was definitely a fun championship battle throughout the race, watching the 10 and the 31, wondering where they were on the track, and at certain points of the race, the 31 had the advantage, and then they dropped back, and the 10 had the advantage, and at the end, the 31 had the advantage, and the 10 was coming, it was coming, it was coming. I think if Ricky Taylor had just one more lap, he could have possibly gotten there and got around Felipe Nasr to get the DPI championship. And Amber has a question in the chat room, asks what does IMSA stand for? And IMSA stands for the International Motorsports Association. Thanks for the question, Amber, and to all our viewers out there. Feel free to ask any questions you have, and we'll answer them here live on the air. And now looking at the overall race winners, not even Hollywood could have scripted such a Cinderella storybook ending for a certain Japanese manufacturer. Mazda Motorsport showed strong pace in the first half of the race, but an issue with the car. They had to come to the pits for repairs, lost 3 to 4 laps, but timely full course cautions allowed them to get the wave by and get back onto the lead lap. It's similar to the waiver rounds you see in NASCAR. Then the number 55 Mazda DPI stormed back. They had real quick pace in the cooler conditions. When the sun went down, Harry Tinknell willed the team to the overall victory at Motil Petit Le Mans in the factory DPI program's final race. Good win, a mic drop moment for Tinknell, Oliver Jarvis, and Jonathan Bomarito to go out on top. And some even compared Mazda's performance to Audi legend Alan McNish and his comeback drive to win Petit Le Mans in 2008. How impressed were you with Mazda?
Oh, I was impressed. And Kobe, call it. If you watched our show yesterday, Kobe correctly guessed that Mazda would win overall at Petit Le Mans. I gotta say, what a way to go out. You basically hit a walk off home run to his 10 destroyed career. Congratulations to everyone at Mazda. Harry Tinknell drove really strong last stint at the end of Petit Le Mans, and he got this. He got the overall win. What a cool way to end a storied career for Mazda.
Yeah, it was definitely a great way for Mazda to end their DPI tenure in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Cars Championship. And I'm not sure if we're going to be saying like goodbye to Mazda and prototype racing permanently, but more so of a see you later. Because and it's such a shame this program has to end and they won't be continuing for now in the LMDH LMH era, because towards the end of the program they had everything clicking on all cylinders, and they finally got the program to where it needs to be, where it can go out there, compete for wins, and get crown jewel wins as well. They got the crown jewel at Petit Le Mans. They've won the Salem 6 Hours of the Glen, and also they took home the Mobile 112 Hours of Sebring late last year. So the only thing missing was the Rolex 24 at Daytona. So it'll be interesting to see if we'll see Mazda return to the prototype ranks in the future and try to get that Rolex watch at Daytona years later. And in GTLM, we had a controversial ending. Both Corvettes retired from the race with damage. Team Arlo BMWs were out of the mix at the end, and we saw the Proton competition. WeatherTech Race and Porsche finished 1-2 in the closing laps. Kevin Estra's number 97 Porsche had a huge lead over the sister car, well over 10 seconds. And we were also focused, jumping out of our seats, looking at the DPI battle for the win in the championship, that we completely missed the number 79 Porsche, driven by Matthew Jomine, passing Estra for the GTLM win. And I asked my followers on Twitter if they knew what happened, because, like everyone else, I was so focused on the DPI battle, and they all told me that it was just team orders. And Estra confirmed that on Twitter after the race, and the number 97 was leading with 3 laps to go, but he had to give up the lead and the race win to the number 79, Jomine, Cooper McNeil, and Matt Campbell. And to Estra, he said it felt bitter, but he was happy for the team finishing 1-2 in GTLM's final race ever. Adam, did it make sense for WeatherTech Racing to give the full-time Porsche the win over the one-off entry?
No, I think I'm glad they did come back overall 1-2 in the class, but I believe the number 97 Porsche should have won last night. Even though the number 79 team had 3 strong drivers led. So I think it was wrong that the number 79 won overall. I think it should have been the number 97 car. They were strong all day long. So, and for those of you who don't know, Matt Campbell is a really strong Porsche driver. He's raced Porsches all over the world all year long. So, to have him come in and race in the Petit Le Mans was probably pretty cool for him. I don't know. So I think the number 97 car should have won over the number 79.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I know a lot of people in motorsports really hate to see team orders happening. And sometimes you have to wonder as a driver, if I don't complete the team orders, what's going to happen? And this time, Porsche factory driver Kevin Estra decided to listen to the team orders and give the win to the car that's been running every race this year instead of the one-off entry we saw with the number 97. So Estra listened to team orders. I'm sure Adam in a little while in the when we talk about supercars, you're going to talk about how team orders affected race 3 of the weekend at Sydney Motorsports Park. But instead of listening to team orders this time, it was completely thrown out the window as we saw 2 drivers from Red Bull and Pole Racing battling hard for spots on the podium. And now looking at some of the other class winners, we saw a close battle at the end in LMP2 between Mikkel Jensen and Gabriel Aubry, but a time penalty after the race gave the victory to Tower Motorsport. Aubry, James French, and John Ferrano. Raleigh Motorsports victorious in LMP3. Gar Robinson, Felipe Fraga, and Scott Andrews at the top of the podium. In GTD, the harder race in Aston Martin survived such a competitive 15-car field. A big win for the Aston Martin factory driver Ross Gunn, Roman DeAngelis, and Ian James. And championship-wise, another big congratulations to Action Express Racing, Wheeling Engineering, Pippo Durrani, and Felipe Nasr in his final race with the team. And several media outlets are reporting that Felipe Nasr is going to be joining Team Penske's factory Porsche LMDH program. And 2 championships were clinched by simply starting the race. Girl 1 Madison Motorsports, Ben Keaton, Mikkel Jensen won LMP2. Corvette Racing, Antonio Garcia, Jordan Taylor got GTLM despite Taylor's heavy racing and crash on a restart. Riley Motorsports and Gar Robinson secured the LMP3 championship. And last but not least, FAF Motorsports, Lawrence Van Thor and Zachary Robichon won the season-long GTD title.
A super exciting IMSA year, and we encourage everyone to be sure to subscribe to the Grid Network for next year as we follow IMSA, starting with the road to before the 24 and of course the 24 hours at Daytona, the Rolex 24 hours. As Kobe mentioned, Supercars, they complete a 3-race weekend, and for the first time in a long time, in fact, since May 7th and 9th, Shane Van Gisbergen did not win a single race during the Supercar weekend. Will Brown took the win, his first career win in race 3, but as Kobe mentioned, the big story, Jamie Whincup held up his faster teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, costing him the win. Essentially, it was a team situation where you let Shane Van Gisbergen, your teammate, go ahead. That's your championship rival. Jamie Whincup, after the race, said he probably did the wrong thing. A lot of folks were talking about it all over Twitter. And of course, right now, a championship, Shane Van Gisbergen, 337 points. Essentially, he is almost there in wrapping up the championship. For Jamie Whincup to do anything, he needs to gain 61 points next weekend to enter the Bathurst 1000 with any shot at the championship. Adam, do you believe Whincup should have let Shane Van Gisbergen get by so the team would have gotten the win, but sacrificed his championship hopes?
Oh, yeah. I think Jamie Whincup admitted that he did wrong. And I think if SVG could have gotten around his teammate Jamie Whincup, I believe that he could have went after Will Brown and at least one race this weekend at Sydney Motorsports Park. Really cool to see Will Brown win this weekend. He's the 82nd driver overall in the Australian Drag Car Championship / Supercar Championship. To win a race, he joins Andre Heimgartner as winning a first race in your career this year. Brown is a young driver, and really cool to see after everything that he's been through all year long. But I gotta say, yeah, Jamie Whincup should have let SVG go in race 3. I think they race again next weekend with 250-kilometer races. So I think Red Bull will go back and look, and hopefully we'll make a better decision for next weekend.
The next weekend, 3 races. And then, of course, the couple weeks after that, the Bathurst 1000. When it comes to Shane Van Gisbergen, of course, he is leading the grid ranking, and his score dropped to 19.71 for not scoring a win. And next race weekend, that's when World Rally Championship is back with their season finale in Monza. So Sebastian Ogier, first or second place, he could really gain some ground on Shane Van Gisbergen. And you take a look at the entire grid ranking, the big thing for Shane Van Gisbergen, the easiest way to clinch the grid ranking world championship, 3 more wins. With only 4 races left, that's going to get a bit tricky. But still, Shane Van Gisbergen controls his destiny, because essentially if he gets good top finishes, he'll be hard to catch for Sebastian Ogier. And really for Kyle Larson, he needs Shane Van Gisbergen to have some bad luck to overtake his score. So the big thing, the grid ranking, few weekends left, but it's coming down to the end, and we're very excited for what has been a very exciting 2021 season right here for the Grid Network. And I think it's time for Adam and the Shiny Moment.
That's right, Joe. And we saw some incredible motorsports action across the world this weekend, from supercars to Formula One to MotoGP. So I'll start with you, Ben. What's your grid one shining moment from this fabulous motorsports weekend?
Well, forgive me for taking the easy one, but I guess that's the benefit of going first. Although it might be one of those weekends where it's, if not unanimous, close to unanimous. But what more can you say about Lewis Hamilton and the drive that he put in? He's won 101 of these races. I think this might have been up there among his most impressive. Just to have so much go wrong at the start of this weekend, to be disqualified from the qualifying session and have to start at the back of a sprint race, and make up over the course of a sprint race in the actual Grand Prix all of those positions. Actually, really, I think he was joking it was really a 25-place grid penalty, because after the sprint race, of course, he got docked to 5 grid places for the engine component change. So, I think Lewis Hamilton is obviously the clear answer here. When you talk about your one shining moment this weekend, this championship is not over by a long shot. And like I've been saying, I hope it goes down to the checker flag at Abu Dhabi, because it's simply been incredible to watch.
This weekend has been once again so dramatic. We've got Formula One drama, MotoGP sadness as well, with drivers retiring. It's been a bit of a weird one. I think I'm going to need these 5 days. Josh Bay says Defo, Lewis and Max as his one shining moment. I think that was a great one as well. But actually, I'm going to go for my one shining moment of Daniel Petrucci. It was his last MotoGP race as well today. So let's show a little bit of light, because we've got the big headlines of Hamilton and Verstappen clash again in Brazil. Valentino Rossi retires. But where's the headline? Daniel Petrucci retires from MotoGP to go race in the Dakar next year. Still very important. And it was just lovely seeing on the grid as well, Neil Hodgson for BT Sport shoved a microphone in, and tears just before the start of the race flowing down Daniel Petrucci's face as well. And so much so that later on, after the race, just before they went up, this is the rumor I've been hearing from the paddock, is that the KTM guys as well surprised Daniel Petrucci with a little present as he left as well. And this is only a rumor, yet had it confirmed, but it looks like it could be true. One of the mechanics, his race engineer, dressed up as a stripper and gave him a special tease to say goodbye. That's just the KTM way. But it's nice to see Daniel Petrucci, of course. Greatest moment, winning the Italian Grand Prix on an Italian bike as an Italian rider, beating Marc Marquez. That 2019 race rent-free up in my mind. Unlike for Daniel Petrucci, who now his race mechanic doing a striptease as his goodbye present lives rent-free in his mind.
One of the big things that's sort of hard to follow up. I see Humperdinck Rossi racing one more time at the top level was one of the shining moments for him. Definitely thank you everyone for sharing your shining moments and participating in the chat room today. We're having a lot of fun. I think I have to go with Rossi too. I mean, just his career, everything he's done for MotoGP. Yeah, he hasn't really picked it up in the United States like other series. But just seeing the respect he has from competitors, the international celebrities, athletes, the name recognition around the world, his legions of fans with that yellow 46. Very likely we're going to hear that potentially that number is going to be retired, assuming Rossi is good with that being done. But I have to say, I think Valentino Rossi is my shining moment.
And my shining moment is this year's IMSA Motul Petit Le Mans, because this race had absolutely everything. And after the 10-hour race yesterday, I had to take a break because my eyes were hurting for staring at a screen for 10 hours straight. It was just that good. Your eyes are glued to the TV and you cannot step away because the racing, all five classes, very intense. You had the championship battle in DPI coming down to the very last lap to the 10th hour in the final turn to decide a champion. Then you had the feel good story with Mazda going out on top. They went from using the fire extinguishers to put out the fire on their cars. It seemed like almost every other weekend at the beginning of this program, till spraying the champagne at the top step of the podiums. It was definitely a wonderful story with Mazda Motorsports. And then you had the controversy with the Team Orders and GTLM. Yeah, you had spicy quotes as well from Jordan Taylor, who thinking that some of those drivers didn't really need to be out there because they didn't know what they were doing. Also, Jordan was involved in that really scary crash on the restart. Really glad that he's going to be okay. He said he's feeling a little sore today. And overall, Petit Le Mans was just really a barn burner. It was one of the most intense races I've really seen in a long time. So that's why I'm giving the entire race, Motul Petit Le Mans 10-hour race at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, my Grid One shining moment this weekend.
Well, since I am the supercars expert here on Grid Network, I'm going to give my Grid One shining moment to Will Brown. This 23-year-old, it was his 38th career start. First win for Erebus Motorsports since Darwin 2020. And also, Will Brown became the first full-time rookie to win a race since Scott McLaughlin did it in front of his home country fans at Pukekohe Park in New Zealand in 2013. This young driver is going to go places. I believe we'll see Will Brown win championships in the Repco Supercar Series, and also grazie vale to Valentino Rossi and the F1 race this weekend. Awesome. Motul Petit Le Mans. Awesome. What a weekend of motorsports across the world.
Yeah, it was definitely a great weekend for racing all across the world. Drama, storylines all across, and that's what I really love about being a journalist: the stories, the people, the emotion, drama, everything about it. That's why I really love covering motorsports. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today, so please be sure to like and subscribe to the Grid Network here on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on other social media platforms: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Please take a few moments after the show and look at our Patreon page and invest in us like Colin, Mark, Deschelle, and Robin have done. And really thank you so much for supporting us. And be sure to check out Pobless to consider spoiling your furry friend. Pobless has dog leashes, clothing, and accessories for dogs of all sizes. 10% of your purchase will go towards helping homeless, sick, and rescue dogs. A great cause everyone at Grid Network supports. Visit public.com to start market social media home. The link below and referral code will give you $5 to invest immediately. Public.com allows you to connect with your friends. You have a great opportunity to make some new friends, and you can use tools to learn how to invest in the stock market. And we also want to welcome our new sponsor, Buy Me a Coffee. Click the click the link in the video description below, and you can buy a drink for your favorite on-air talent here at Grid Network. And any amount will help us continue growing our motorsports media outlet. And it just premiered on Friday evening, but you can check out the newest episode of Life on the Grid. We interviewed sports car racer Christina Lamb, and be sure to stay tuned for any future episodes as well. And I'll see you again on Wednesday with Adam at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of Grid Tonight, analyzing the weekly news in motorsports. For Adam, Ben, Joe, and Josh, I'm Kobe from the Podium Finish. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful week ahead.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform, public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GRIDnet for your free $5 to invest and start investing and networking on public.com.